Hi everybody! A few weeks ago I made this drawing which kinda blew up on TikTok, and I got loads of questions from people asking me how do you make a drawing like this without sketching or erasing. Now a POV drawing or a point of view drawing like this might seem very difficult to do without sketching, but it's actually a lot easier if you know what steps to take, and that's exactly what I'm gonna show you today. So here we have our picture. That also brings me to the first step. Before you actually start drawing, first pick a nice place and pick a nice view, right? We're making a point of view drawing, so pick a nice view. And if we look at this photograph, for example, what I've really tried to look for is variety. So, different angles in which the buildings are placed and also the tables. So for example, this one is going there. This one is a bit tilted. This one's even more tilted. There are different angles in here. We have some green, we have buildings, we have people. There's place to put people in there. So there's a lot of variety. And when I started out, I would always just sit down quickly and make a drawing. But the first phase is really sketching. So before you start drawing, the first phase is really scouting. So imagine you're sitting down and you're looking that way. And the view is, okay, you give it a 6 out of 10. But, just turn around and look if the view over there is better. If you give that an 8 out of 10, then maybe you should sit over here and switch places. Because in the end, you're not only making the drawing, but you're also kind of the director who's deciding what shot to take. First step, just scout and pick a place that you find is cool to make a drawing. Now the second step is determining what part of the drawing you're going to take. So let's say we have this view, and of course when you're sitting there and you're looking around, the view is, endless. So if you want to make a drawing, are you going to use this part, or are you going to use only this part, or whatever you want to do, pick a sort of a frame, like the edge of the drawing that you want to make. It doesn't have to be 100% correct, but pick an edge that you find it's cool to use for this drawing. And I think it's cool to use this part. Alright, so let's draw what your average sketchbook looks like, so we have somewhat of an indication. And although I'm working digitally here because it's easier to record digitally, I do highly recommend that you work traditionally with a ballpoint pen or any pen that you can find, because here I can always do Command Z or Control Z, but when you're working traditionally, you can't undo. And that's the whole gist of this workout or this drawing, is that you are doing something which is definitely gonna create errors. And it's not about creating those errors, it's about how you deal with those errors. And that's what differs a great artist from a beginning artist. If you look at the horizon line in this drawing, you can actually see that it's pretty wobbly. The whole goal is to continue drawing and to find a solution to the problem. In the end, there's a big chance your audience won't even see the mistake. So we've picked we have our drawing, and the next step, or the third step, would be to decide where the horizon line is. So are you going to place it over here, or over here, or over here? Now the higher you place the horizon line, the more you're going to look onto things. The lower you place the horizon line, the more we're going to see the sky. So I don't want to show the sky because, I want to show that I am drawing, and I want to show, what's going on around in the neighborhood. So I want to pick a horizon line that's, somewhere between the upper half. So let's say it's over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lower the opacity of this so we can straight going with a pen. Now we have our horizon line, we somehow know what the frame we're drawing in, and the next step would be to actually decide. So let's say my horizon line is over here. The next thing I want to do is I want to put some anchors down, some landmarks of what I'm seeing. So we have the middle over here, and I'm sitting in the middle, and that means that we have our table, and it goes from there to there. And I really just start with putting down dots. So we have our horizon, and now we just have to really measure what's the vanishing point? It's really important to understand what the vanishing point is. So here we have a vanishing point, and then here we have the table on which I am sitting. Now I want to make it a little bit bigger because, you know, I want to be able to show that I'm sitting over here. So this is the first one. Now, as you can see over here, we have a vase, and you want to be sure to draw the things you see first. So again, we're measuring and we're ghosting here because I want to show people that I am drawing. So again, you know, these are a bit apart from each other. So here we have the book. Now also with this book, this is also going towards a vanishing point. So on the horizon line, here we have a vanishing point, and here we have a vanishing point. So this is about that. And here now we can draw in the vase. Now here you can actually see that the horizon line over here, and that the flowers are actually almost touching the horizon line. Now here I didn't do that. So, you know, that's the great thing with flowers. You can just add more flowers. So as you can see, I'm only drawing the silhouette, and there's a reason for this. Because if you want to make a drawing like this, the only thing you're using is a line. And we want to be as minimum as possible. So we're only going to be using line, and we're only going to be drawing the silhouette of everything. We can use interior lines, but those interior lines are just to suggest a, you know, an edge or anything. So for example, if we look at this drawing, here we have the other side of the table, for which I'm using somewhat of an interior line. But it's just minimum, because if I just suggest it over here, the audience will understand that it's a three-dimensional object. And it's really important that each object you draw in your drawing has some thickness to it. Because, you know, I see a lot of people who draw a table like this and then give it. But not giving a thickness to a table actually communicates that it's like paper thin. And we know tables aren't paper thin. So instead of drawing a table like this, draw a table like this. Give it some weight. With each line you draw, try to really determine where it's placed on the horizon line. So for example, with this line, with all these lines over here, they're all coming from this place on the horizon line. Now this table behind the flowers actually has the same vanishing point as these stairs. So we can just draw in this table. Now when we look at this table, we can actually see that, you know, it's tilted or rotated a little bit. So this table has this vanishing point, but this table has probably a vanishing point more to the left because it's rotated. We just want to see where it is. And here I'm actually doing something that's quite important. Because when you place something in perspective, what you want to do is you want to know where to place it. You know, how do we draw this table so small and this one? What size is it? You know, where do we place it? Now what you need to do is there are three measures. We have X, Y, and Z. For the table, this is X, this is Y. But only thinking about X and Y just makes it two-dimensional. So we need to think about Z, which is the depth. So when I measure where to put this table, what I do is we have this, again, X and Y. We have this one. And now we're thinking behind the object. So let's say this is going into a curve. We have a vanishing point somewhere here. Now, how far is this table from the other part? Somewhere around here. So all this red is going on in my mind before I put down a line. So like I said before, we want to follow the 80-20% rule in drawing, adding detail into your drawing. Now, since I'm not going to be drawing all these bricks we have over here, what I am going to be drawing is the bush, and I'm going to give it a little bit more details. And this is a nice contrast in relation to the table over here that's really empty, and the building I'm going to draw over here, which also has just a couple of lines. Now you'll see that I'm actually not drawing these arms for the sunscreen or whatever it is. I'm not putting a lot of detail in there, and the reason for this is that I want to accentuate the difference between what is close and what is far away. And the more something is far away, the lower level of detail I will apply to any object there is in a drawing. Now also for this beach umbrella, when we're drawing it, this side is going towards the vanishing point over here. So that means that this side is also has the same vanishing point. So because this is very close to the horizon, there's a lot of distortion going on, because you can see that the corner is all the way to the left. Well, actually, when we look at the image over here, the corner is far from the pole. But that's because we're using a different perspective in this drawing than the real perspective we have in our lens. Now I want to highlight that the real perspective doesn't really exist, because we also have a sort of lens on how we see the world, but that's not the truth. The most important thing that you need to do while drawing something like this is that you need to stay true to the perspective rules you decided up front in the drawing. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about perspective, I have a video, and I also put a link down in the description, which tells you everything you need to know about perspective. And the perspective that is widely used in GoPro cameras, for example, which is seen as very dynamic, is a 5-point perspective. And I've just made a video explaining you how to use that one. So have a check at it as well, link in the description. So one thing that I'm really trying to be mindful of while I'm drawing the background is to be less hard on the line work and to leave it a little bit more open space, because I want to create a lower contrast difference between the line and the paper in the background because it's further away. The lines in the front, I'll actually give them a thicker line to make sure the contrast is higher, and thus we create more depth in relation with the background. The further objects are, the less thick the line will be, and the less amount of detail they will get. Now, what I really like about this drawing style is that you can literally do it anywhere you are, and it really trains your sense of perspective. And there you have it. Give this exercise a try yourself and let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and have an awesome day. Bye bye.